Welcome back, everyone. Sorry, I had a couple giggles as we're talking about funny things offline. Casual, how keen are you for a third game of the evening? I'm pretty excited. These teams have definitely shown what they can do. What are your
Oh,
thoughts?
yeah. No, super exciting, and we're gonna jump straight into draft already. They're keen as
Oh,
well.
straight in. They
But
want to do it.
it's awesome, right? Everything to play for. Cavalry with the fantastic game one. J Dragons bring it back in game two, and we're gonna finish up with only one victor, right? This is the pain of a best of three. You can come
Uh,
back in that second game, but really, it kind of just feels like when you're like playing a game at school or whatever, like when you're younger, and then you like it's like 30, like an hour and 30 minutes of this really intense game, and then right at the very end before the bells goes, it's like, okay, now this is the round that matters. It's like, well, what about all the other rounds? I've been here for like 2 hours. It kind of feels like this. Like the other games, you've got to scrap them out of your memory now, Pike. They don't matter. Forget about them. It's this is the one that matters, the game three. And it's all important, right? Because we're going to mention later on in streams about our grand finals next week. Like, it really is all to play for. Yeah, we could make mistakes in week one, week two, move around, test the waters, but really every win seriously counts now as we get to sort of the climactic end of this fantastic circuit.
Mate, you lost me for like 60% of that, but then you got me back being like, this is the game that matters. I was like, oh, yeah, now I'm feeling the fire. Now I'm feeling it. I was sort
Yeah.
of like, you're talking about school, and I was like, mate, I've been out of school for way too long. A lot of the people
I'm a
playing, I'm
zoomer.
like, yeah, they're just chilling in like high school most of the time. They're like, yeah, I play League of Legends. I've got an attention span really good. And I'm just like, man, where the hell am I? Like, what am I doing with myself? But no, awesome. I love that. We're getting to the third game. Doesn't even matter. It's exactly what you said. Doesn't matter what happens in this game. We got some fiery stuff coming out of the top, and there's a Wukong coming out in the picks and bans. I like it, casual.
Yeah, I like it. So Wukong first pick, and then the bans are really crucial to me. So off Worgen, they're actually going to take away the Draven this time, so Day's not going to choose to pick that up. Wants to go for the Ezreal, which he really enjoyed in that first game. Thought that he was really good on it. It actually performed really, really well, despite
Did.
not having an insane amount of lane priority. Really did his job, and they paired with the Nami again, so really good. It's interesting because it's not the most common support we see with Ezreal. Like I mentioned, it's usually tied to when Lucian's not available. Lucian Nami's still obviously being able to be played on this patch.
Ooh.
Now they've got to answer it with something different, right? It was the Varus and the Thresh, I believe, into this bot
Yeah.
lane previously. So they're going to switch things up. Thresh still on the table, but already Worgen takes away the Sivir.
I
I
was
like
just
it a
gonna say
lot.
Lulu.
Sivir Lulu, yeah, fantastic
Strong.
bot lane, isn't
I
it?
was
Yeah,
just about to
really,
say it.
really strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, strong, reliable. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Does
Yep.
what it needs to do. Definitely will be favored in the 2v2 early, especially, which is unlikely for Sivir. Often you'll see Sivir having to play really, really reserved, but they can really
Mm.
pressure in this lane, which I hope that they do. Clearly capable of having that style. If you look back at game one, they really were asserting their dominance. So, no,
Oh.
fantastic pickup for them. And then we actually blind picked the Darius this time. So, interesting. Path the Horizons now
Mm.
has the opportunity to counter pick, and they're going to take
Yep.
away the Olaf, thinking that's maybe the route that he may go, given what happened in game two.
Look, I actually really like this. Taking the Darius early,
Hmm.
in the first like time of picks is
Puts the pressure on, right?
puts the pressure on, because that is a
Yeah.
hard winning lane. What do you do to come back from it, right? So I
Yeah.
like that they've prioritized their bot lane. They've left their jungle mid open. Obviously, Envious has sort of shown that he can sort of flex away a couple things. He's feeling pretty good about that. But again, I can't actually not ignore the Sivir Lulu. That is such a strong matchup. Kind of,
Solid, yeah.
in my opinion, it's a little sleeper, because Sivir can just hard shove once she's got one item. She's got really quite a lot of damage. Just imagine the second she pops that ulti, and she's going to have all of these guys charging at you, especially a Wukong in Cyclone is going to
Yeah.
be big. And if anyone's in trouble, you've got a massive wild growth there coming out of the Lulu R, which is just going to keep them alive a little bit longer, because at the end of the day, if you can survive a guillotine from the Darius and just get a little bit more to back it up, you can turn a fight. So really liking that. I'm also liking the Nami. I want to get to the bans in a second, because they've taken off Zac Vi, which fairly stock standard, taking away the junglers. Aatrox?
Okay, so it's
Aatrox?
Darius Jungle. It's Darius Jungle.
No, it's
Pause
not.
champ. It's
Nah, I don't
gotta
want it.
be.
I don't want
It's
it.
gotta be.
Take
I'm
it.
telling you. Oh, okay, no,
Well,
hold on. It's not. You're right. You're
where
right. You
I
got
told
me.
you you couldn't do it. That's
Bait
not
and
how it works. We
switch.
have had them. It was meant to be
Okay.
Kindred. A client
Oh,
bug,
all
ladies and
right.
gentlemen. It was a client bug. Don't worry about it. I was a little concerned. Darius Jungle?
I was excited. I was like, please let it be Darius Jungle. What an insane thing to pull out in the all important game. Like, why couldn't it have been that? But no, Kindred makes a lot more sense.
Kendra makes
So
more
that's
sense.
totally fine. But we'll
Yeah.
head straight back in anyway. You said we didn't get time to talk about bands now that we do. So
Now we
yeah,
do.
they took away the Zac on the side of JD. I really like that actually because
Mm,
they're denying the ability to actually play in the jungle. Maybe why they went for the Kindred because you've already got a
mm,
really decent backline. You don't necessarily need another AD carry,
no.
especially because Envious of Me was yet to pick, and he loves his sort of
Yeah.
control mages and stuff like that. So you had the backline damage. So they referenced that, and then of course on Envious of Me's team, the cavalry team, they decide to actually end up taking away things like the Olaf, which they believe was going to be counterpicked towards the Darius. And
Mm,
Darius not counterpicked by something like the Olaf, in my opinion. I think what would be really tricky for Happy Windmand in this case is if Part the Horizons goes for something with a lot of mobility or something with a lot of
mm.
range. Those are his sort of two options.
Yeah.
Sometimes both. You've got something like the Lilia that can be played top. It's got a lot of range. It's got a lot of mobility. So maybe you can get the best of both worlds. Although
Yeah.
it comes down to champ pool, right? If you're actually able to pull that off, it's a pretty niche pick. Not a lot of top laners would know how to play, but he's got the
Mm,
options and he's got time to think, right? This is what I love. As someone,
mm,
I'm a competitive player myself. I do a lot of scrims, things like that. When this case happens, yeah, partly it's annoying, but if you're the top or the mid laner who's yet to pick, now you get way more time to think about what to do. So a little bit of
mm.
planning that could be happening on JG, they won't be too upset about. But yeah, how do you feel like the drafts are shaping up so far? We talked about the Sivir Lulu. We're really, really solid about that. Now that we
Mm.
know that it's a Kindred Darius in the top side for Cavalry, is that their ticket into taking out the series?
What I want to reference here is we saw, and I'm going to reference the first game purely
Mm,
because there's something we haven't considered yet.
mm,
That Neon Candy was hard roaming on that Nami. Just one and two
yeah,
together here, casual. Let me just paint you a word picture. Kindred with a Nami on
perfect.
the top with the stacks and that damage. Imagine that as a Lucian. So imagine the
Yeah.
Kindred like illusion. That's a very similar playstyle with the press the attack
Mhm.
Lucian, right? If you get those procs off with the empowered Nami damage on top of it, man, that guy dead. That guy dead
Yeah, it's good.
fast. So I
Yeah.
think that's going to be really interesting. I'm expecting Neon Candy to be really aggressive and just let Ezreal sit there, chill out. He's going to get pushed into the tower. That's fine. He's happy with that because they don't have the huge kill pressure with that Lulu. There is no hard engage. It's just a little bit of CCM poke. Really, that's all it is. So he's just going to have an absolute field day till he can get to level 12 or level 13, and he's going to come out punching people with an Essence Reaver plus more. So I think I'm expecting a lot from Neon Candy here on the side of Cavalry. I want to see him really roam, really assist his team because, like you said, we're probably expecting some sort of mage in Envious in the mid lane. So even maybe a Syndra we could be looking at, something that he's quite comfortable on, which could do quite a
Galio,
lot
he
there.
pulls out
Yeah,
sometimes as well,
exactly. So
the ability
yeah.
to just push the wave and move. But I like that you mentioned that Nami is going to be getting around the map, right? That little
Mm,
walk-in sashimi. If she's able to actually follow around the Kindred, that much easier for Kindred to secure those mid-game marks that are actually
yeah.
going to be on the opposite side of the jungle, right? So she needs that extra help, that extra assistance, and
Mhm.
perfect that you've paired a support that's actually able to leave lane. Reason why that is, Pike, is because you've got an Ezreal there. Doesn't
Yeah.
really want a support, doesn't really need one. So now, makes total sense. I like the pickup. Really good analysis as we jump straight back in.
Mm.
And thank Christ that we're just picking nice and quick and early, right? We already know what's going to
Yeah.
happen here. Darius on 3. The next two bands, which will I don't know about yours, but will refresh my memory as it seems like it was eons
Mm.
ago. But yeah, no, Sivir Lulu will go down. Wukong still technically can be flexed, I think it's unlikely, Pike, but we have
uh,
to acknowledge it's something that could happen. Wukong can be played in the top lane. We'll see. I can't imagine it's a very fun time into Darius. Not a lot of mobility.
uh,
Melee seems pretty scary. Probably is jungle, but you never know. It's Irons of Plat as yeah, Olaf, that's right. They'll take away that and for a good reason, right? That game too, you made sure to highlight it. It was pretty
mm.
scary. Even if maybe it's a matchup that Olaf might be pretty afraid of early,
Mm.
still good to just take away someone that even if they do fall behind, they're able to just be better, just skill check, have the
Just be
hands,
better. Just get good,
just
kid.
do it. Just do it better. That's a good color cast, right? Just get good, guys. That's how you win games. Get good.
Hot
Um,
trash.
yeah,
Do
that's
more.
it. It's just. Have you tried doing more? Um, But yeah, so anyway, they of course match with the Zac, has to be jungle. They'll throw in a secondary jungle band
There's a
in the
Kindred.
Vi, and they answer with the
Now,
Kindred. So this is where it all gets tied together, right?
we do need to see that champion select as we haven't moved over to the scene, but I'm really keen to see what's coming in as Kindred has been locked in. We haven't seen these picks yet. So Worgen slowly picking something up as we're sort of preferencing that, and we got Rek'Rai coming up in the second part, but I want to see what's going to be picked up here. I'm expecting some sort of mages, bit of AP damage. That's a mouth fight in the top lane.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm a fan. What better way to get on top of an Ezreal than just blasting with an unstoppable force? But then we're going to see what comes up into it because we haven't got the mid lane to get to. So we are going to see a counter pick for Envious in the mid lane. He's going to feel really confident with that counter pick. It could also be a Malphite mid, funnily enough. Like, I've seen that before. It sucks to verse.
No, it definitely could be. I guess the worry with rotating Malphite is we've picked it because of all of the AD. So they're going to whip out the Gragas. Still technically can be flexed as well. We could see Gragas in the mid lane. We could see Malphite in the mid lane. You know, it can move around. I like the Sylas though, Pike. Not so much that it's paired with a jungle that will really help him, but we've picked it just because of the ults, right? Wukong ult's fantastic. You know, Malphite ult obviously is what we're picking it for, but there's a lot of things. Even Lulu ult, I think, is super, super underrated on Sylas as well. So, no, I like that he's picked that. He's not going to have the same amounts of synergy as he did in the previous game, you know, with that Sejuani, you know, it's bread and butter, it's cheddar and cheese. But Malphite, he's going to struggle in lane, but these team fights are going to work out really, really nicely just because they really are mostly AD damage. All the more important that Sylas does then eventually get a lead because it's going to make Malphite forced to build something he doesn't want to. But Gragas Sylas, we're seeing a whole bunch in pro play. It's actually a really, really fun lane because of the interactions in terms of chaining CC and being able to buffer CC. Sylas can do it. Gragas can also do it with his explosive cask. So it's really fun. You mentioned micro interactions, something you really like. There's plenty of those in the mid lane, so you'll be super chuffed.
Oh, I'm keen.
But yeah, no, I like both of these drafts. Both scale decently, both team fight well. There's more of a side lane presence, I will admit, for Cavalry, just because of the Darius and the Sylas compared to Gragas and the Malphite. Other than that, though, it's not like they lack team fight just because they can side, especially because of that Ezreal Nami. So team fight still works. So if you had to build on some sort of a pie graph of what they can do compared to what JD can pull out, Cavalry can do a little bit of everything, but maybe JD can just do that team fighting thing just that smidgen a little bit stronger if they can get to the mid game relatively unscathed.
Yeah, I think my big question is who's going to have the biggest impact, because we can sort of see the lanes themselves are going to be quite stock standard, right? Like you sort of expect Darius to win into Malphite early. You expect Sylas to do something good into Gragas, but Gragas to also scale really well into the late game. You're expecting Civilulu to do really well, but it comes down to that jungle matchup. Wukong Kindred. We know Wukong has really good presence, but Kindred can just pump out some damage as long as she's getting those stacks. Well, sorry. So who do you think is going to have the most impact? And we might have to get a poll inside Twitch chat for you guys to vote. Who's going to come out on top in this game, Wukong or Kindred? I'm really keen to see what people are saying as we're about to jump over to a cheeky little intermission. As you know, Casual, we had quite a bit of time to talk about this. So I think let's go to an intermission. Let's take it easy. Let's give ourselves a break. We've had to talk about these guys far too much.
It's a big game coming up.
It's a big game. Coming up. It's game number 3, guys. We're really excited for this one. Guys, stay tuned. We will be back in a minute as it is Jade Dragons versus the Cavalry. We're going to see who takes home the trophy. And don't forget, grand finals next week. We've got a little announcement about that, so you better stay tuned to find out a bit more. So, guys, we'll see you in a sec. That's how I was trying to sing a bit of NSYNC, but I realized that was Backstreet Boys Casual, so apologies for that one. How are we doing?
Beautiful. It still sounded beautiful.
Look, I don't even know the words. I thought I knew the words, but I didn't. So chat, I apologize. We did our best. I'm not a Backstreet Boys fan. Give me that 1D. I was about to say that 1D every day, but that sounded even worse. So let's not worry about that.
Okay, all right. Shall I start analysing then to stop you?
I think that's a good way to go.
So yeah, all right. So let's go through it. Interesting choices of items matched up towards what Sums have actually taken. The first thing I'm looking at is Malphite opting for the grass, but actually starting Doran's Ring.
Yep, fair.
Usually you'll see Doran's Ring picked up because you're taking Arcane Comet. You're playing for poke. Usually you'd imagine Malphite would go for poke in this lane because he doesn't want to be in melee range. However, Malphite being Omega buffed included his E and his W, which makes that grass proc even more dangerous. So I think totally fine, despite what you'd usually expect out of the matchup. We're going to see a few blows traded here in the mid lane, but just due to Gragas's ability to innately sustain himself up, we see it just there with the passive. I think he will maintain priority in this lane early. That's what we've seen in Pro. Hopefully we can see it here.
Yep.
And then bot lane, I can't imagine there's a lot of things going on. You know, some slightly aggressive summoners coming out from Recre actually compared to Neon Candy, which is interesting. Maybe he does know what I was talking about in terms of their winning 2v2. So that's pretty good to see as well. And other than that, I think, just like you called it, both junglers should be full clearing. It seems pretty expected at this stage. The most interesting part of that, Pike, is the fact that they're going to opposite ends of the map.
Look, you can sort of see where their priority's at. You want Wukong to be coming down bot as soon as he can, because you will... Oh, that's a lot of damage onto Worgen, though. You will see that Ezreal Nami probably will have the poke out to sort of be able to push this lane, so obviously Wukong wants to come and fight for that. But at the same time, Kindred wants to come topside. He wants Darius to get this lead, because you're going to see a lot of armor built on this Malphite. You've got to sort of shut him down a little bit earlier so Darius can just get in, do the damage, get his Stride Baker early, and then just have a bit of a laughing match as the game goes on. But a lot of damage being traded. Envious and me doing a good job. Reason's already pretty low. You don't miss those, Envious. What's going on? Sorry.
No, but does manage to proc his Conqueror, though. So we'll actually end up healing up through the trade, which is not common into Gragas. You don't imagine a champion healing more than the Fat Boy does, but actually gets it off this time. And we're finding more decent trades, but they're not just really keeping themselves as healthy as they'd like to be in this lane. And I think it's all due to the fact that they missed out on that level too early. Daya and Neon Candle able to capitalize using that phase shift forward, especially with the Nami proc as well, just meant that Worgen has to be that much more careful in this lane now in order to maintain the CS lead to be relevant. And speaking of being relevant right now, you're exactly right with how Kindred needs to path. If Darius falls ever behind in this game, they're basically just playing 4v5, so they're going to go aggro.
And this is the little hook coming in. Like I said, they get those procs, they get that damage. Could get a little bit more. They're looking for a tower dive. There's the damage. The bleed is enough, but Windman just blowing wind right now as he has to walk away from that one.
Yeah, so procs the Ghost, it's all he loses though, but somehow, some way, Part the Horizon actually greets his flash and it works out. You don't hear that every day about greeting flash. Usually someone says it because it's like, oh, you bloody messed up, you died, you fool, you should have used it. But no, it's actually really calculated in being able to get out, and it's awesome. That's perfect weak side gameplay because he really needs that flash in this lane. Like, oh, big time. And so Darius actually comes out on a negative despite having his jungler come and gank him. So awesome outcome for the side of the Jade Dragons. So far, so good with the way things are working out. Gold lead is probably as simple as it's ever been. I think this is the latest we've gone in this series without a kill being done. So maybe that game 3 nerves, you know, the case of kind of like, this is the game that matters for how we want to finish our places. Maybe we need to be a little bit more careful. There's no more shenanigans like we've seen in those 2 invades in our first 2 games.
But I love shenanigans.
I know, it's sad, but here we are, late into the night, shenaniganless, you know, it's a sad time. Speaking of sad time, though, I feel like Reasons is in a pretty awkward spot in terms of this lane. You know, Envy does have the option to opt for a freeze here, and works out beautifully because Kindred, other than resetting, has no choice but to walk mid. You'll see her path there now. Potentially, they can look. It's all about the case of if this mark actually does land for Kindred. She's sitting on just no marks at the minute because of losing out to the Scuttle RNG, which is unfortunate for old Lamb, but she'll make her way up and keep moving. Hold on.
Not even level 6 yet. Got the Conqueror proc. Gets a Q off. Ooh, her damage!
Yeah, it's a full stacked Q on Darius. Is never a fun time for anyone. And Envy actually opts for his ult early, so he takes it away from Gragas. You'll see sometimes in Silas matchups, they won't use their ult straight away, kind of like how an Echo holds his ultimate, because they maybe want to go for something else. But Explosive Cast actually is super, super duper useful, especially because in the first time this series, Dollop isn't on something that has a primary engage. They need someone else to actually bring the team fight into the right angle, and what a better way to do it than Grug Assault. So Tempest won't even acknowledge the fact that Silas is something that he might engage with, and instead he'll take this first Dragon, and beautiful for the side that they've got a scaling bot lane.
Good engage there. But they're trying to get a little bit more off. Oh, good barrel. The flash is forward. Oh, the guillotine isn't enough. It is. It's one more. Oh, he got it in! There's a little tick of healing at the end there. I was like, oh, he doesn't have it, but he got it. Well played.
We were really holding our breath, weren't we? I was kind of like, oh, wait, maybe? No way. But no, it does eventually fall, and surprisingly, no one falls elsewhere on the map, as Envious of Me, like you said, finds a beautiful explosive cast onto Reason, but he matches with his own, knocking them both back. Unfortunately, Dollop actually burns his flash trying to get back into range, but it was already too far too late for him. And so Daya just picks up some free plates in the background. Tempest secures the first Drake, and outside of that solo queue, solo queue. Sorry to give anyone, you know, that's a jump scare if it's anything, right? Saying the word solo queue, especially these days. So I apologize for that, everyone. But hold on, more trading.
No, like, Reasons wants to fight this because Envious doesn't have any mana. But nah, he's going to fight back. He wants to get that cheeky little back. Probably look for a cheater's back. As the wave is semi-frozen.
It's a bit of worry, right? Yeah, semi-frozen, you called it out, so he doesn't have TP, no mana, he's actually forced to base, maybe even does get cancelled, he does, yeah, so Reason's just playing that real annoying game in the mid lane, you know, lane dominant in terms of that micro with minion and wave management, well played to him, and we're seeing stock standard outcomes pretty much across the map. Walken's been able to see us decently, pretty much trading almost perfectly.
Oh, here we go.
Hold on.
Oh, sorry. Happy Windman just wants to do it again. Pops the ghost. He gets the bleed. Look at the damage coming at us. There's the ulti coming in. Unstoppable force to stop him from doing anything. Did he actually cancel his ult? No, he doesn't even care. It's fine. Happy Windman. He's chilling.
Yeah, I think I spoke a bit too soon. I said it's a great ult, and the reason I said that is because he actually avoids the outside ring of the Darius queue, but then you've got nowhere else to escape. So I think the more mathematically correct play, right, would just be to ult away. Maybe I got a little bit too excited just because it was really cool he dodged the ability. You dodged the ability, but you still lost your life, and you could have lived. So, no, this Darius super ahead at this stage, because it's not only the kills, it's the CS lead as well, it's the plates, it's the everything. And also the fact that Dollop doesn't really need to bother with it, too. The fact that you can just ignore a whole lane and just farm yourself up, it's just beautiful when you're on something like the Kindred as well. You don't really want to be forced to help your laners. Hold on.
Ooh, the cask is beautiful as it takes Envious underneath his tower. Here comes Tempest as well. Cyclone, double Cyclone. Doing enough, but Kindred pops the ulti as well, trying to keep them all alive as possible. Stands outside of it, does get it. Barrage comes down too. Not going to get the healing. Tempest does take Envious of Me off the board as Dollop is now on the run, trying to survive. Tries to drop the wolf. And a beautiful little play coming out of Tempest there.
Yeah, no, so Tempest does manage to clutch up, get himself into the mid lane, and secure the kill, despite a really well-played Lamb's Respite coming out from Dollop, keeping his, you know, his mid laner alive-ish, because he still does end up falling, and crucially, though, the bot lane's being played out in the way that Cavalry would want, meaning that the Kindred does still get to live, despite the fact that Envy does not, and that's only because Ezreal and Nami were able to make their way up the river before Worgen was. Probably maybe a bit not keen to actually rotate just because they have been a little bit down in CS. Given the fact that hopefully Ezreal's able to catch that wave. If he is, they'll still be able to maintain that lead. But yeah, really, you know, decent play coming out mid, but it's still just all eyes on this top lane as Darius should eventually secure that play. That Malphite is a bit curious, eh?
He smacked him with everything, and he just stood there. He's like, nah, I'm just going to get my proc. I'm just going to take a lot of your tower, and I'm going to walk away. He did not care. Oh, but this could be a fight.
Too cocky here because Dollop's back up in the top lane.
There he gets the pull in. Dollop wants to come in, drops the. There's a good ulti. That's the ulti we wanted from before.
Yeah, and it's pretty much the only way you can do it if you don't have flash. And it's unfortunate because Malphite really wants it to make plays, but when you're in a matchup like this, you have to survive more than you can make plays around the map. The issue with that, though, is you don't want to get bled out, pardon the pun, because it's versus a Darius, in this sort of game situation as well. You know, almost 5 plates fully gone. At 10 minutes, this Darius is incredibly fed. He'll actually take it because of the Demolish Bomb coming up just in time. Dollop, or even more importantly, gets the plate as well. So this top side is It's a real point of contention, and I'm not sure if Tempest can do anything about it, but I'm not too sure if he can't do anything about it either. It's a really curious situation. I'm not sure how they get out of it.
Here's the big scoop here for your casual. Here's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
This Darius is so strong. Cavalry just needs to play around him. He's their win con right now. The rest of the team wants to scale and sit back and get stacks, and Kindred's only on like 1 or 2 stacks, is chilling. Silas wants to get a couple items under his belt. Ezreal wants to be able to feel like he can have some sort of impact. Nami's just happy chilling around. I wouldn't expect it this Nami. There's a big fight though. The cast could be used, but there's the polymorph taken out, and now they just disengage. But yeah, like I said, they can just sit back and they don't have to look for a fight here. And now Happy's just going to start looking for fights himself because he's got the Stride Breaker. There's the Rift Herald. Barrel Cast goes a little bit sideways. Double sideways Barrel Cast. There's the Wild Growth. There's a big tidal wave as Dob does pick up the kill. Drops the survivability. They do get the Rift Herald onto that. There's a good pull. Happy Windman is an absolute monster. And they do pick up 1 kill. Again, Darius showing us what Darius do best.
Yeah, no, Darius doing Darius things actually makes that fight a lot scarier for the side of Cavalry as they enter into the river trying to secure this second Drake. Maybe they bite off a bit more than they can chew when they go for the Scuttle Crab. But really, look, at the end of the day, my biggest worry is the fact that Darius, yeah, he is really fed, but it doesn't make these team fights any easier for Cavalry. So you mentioned... Look, they can't contest this. Surely not. Oh, he goes for the steal.
Oh, he actually got it. Darius being the madman he is. Daya picking up his first kill of the game too. Essence Reaper coming on. There's the ghost popping out. He does have flash. He wants to kill Rekra. Rekra just gets blown up instantly too. He's going to have those passives. Can he get a little bit more? Throws down the guillotine once more again. Look at the damage, dude. What do you do? Dollar picking up a kill. 6 kills to 1. And they are a solid 6 or 7k ahead in gold. What can you do?
Yeah, 6-7k, also
is it
13 minutes. I mean, maybe, I don't know.
Is that 5?
Pretty good. Mine's shit.
3. I apologize, chat. 5k.
Hey, 5k still pretty good.
That's
Especially
13 minutes.
Yeah, no, it's wild, right? I guess, yeah, look, I'm never going to ever rate Darius in a team fight. And the reason I do that is because if executed well, it is easy to kite him. Especially if you've got things like a Gragas and a Sivir and a Lulu. So much move speed, so much ability to CC and to stop him. Like, the fights later on are going to get really tricky. And I don't care how fed he is. However, if the game's going to play at the pace that it is now, it's not enough to just say don't team fight, because it's like, well, are we just going to give up absolutely everything? So if Cavalry, like they did in the first game, keep their pedal to the metal, keep their, you know, their finger on the trigger, then they don't really have a choice. You're kind of forcing their hand, you know, you're backing them into a corner, and they need to come up with something and come up with something fast. Yes, Walken is pretty well fed, so get to those 2-3 item spikes and maybe he can deal with the Darius, but I wonder if there's that they keep bleeding out. Then once Darius starts to build resistances, there actually isn't going to be a backline to shred him. They do lack some serious tank shred. At the moment, it really is just all Sivir. Gragas wants to play for burst, and obviously you've got a pretty bruisery, tanky topside. So it's all on Walken to shut down this front line, and at this stage, he's got absolutely no chance. And I worry by the time that he does get a chance, the game just might be over.
Casual, what the hell is Malphite building? I'm so confused. What is he building? What is he trying to do?
Gauntlet thing. What's it called? It's a frozen something something. Someone in chat might know.
Do you know the frozen
one? Blue one. Yeah, the
blue
frozen
one.
Let it go, let it go. You know that one?
Oh, we're singing now?
Are we? I mean,
I was singing before. I know. Oh, yeah. I went with classic pops. It's the frozen. Is it Frostfire Gauntlet? Yeah.
Yeah, right. There you go. Well, it makes sense, right? Like you were singing In Sync because you're a boomer, and I'm singing Let It Go because I'm a zoomer. So
I'm a boomer. How dare you, sir? I'm a millennial.
Hey, you've got to fight the cast. Get on
No, I don't want to now. I want to talk about how you think I'm a boomer. This is absolute upset. This fight can wait for no one, you know? They're going to get absolutely shredded anyway, so it's fine. As Reason has to throw the barrel cast. Unfortunately, the Dollop was just chilling, picks up the kill. There goes a nice tidal wave. Doesn't even matter because these guys are so strong, so fed. 4-0-1 Kindred. I wonder how many stacks this man's sitting on because he's having an absolute laugh of the game. And I'm going to find out for you right now. He's on 4 stacks. It's not great, but pretty good.
Four's decent for 15 minutes. It's interesting. On an absolute Kindred main, a one-trick and high diamond, they'll be on 4 at like 5, you know, knowing them, knowing the psycho things that Kindred can do. But at this stage, with how things have gone, it's really decent. Another fantastic
Ooh, but here comes Daya, throwing out a lot. Dollar picks up another kill. Barrage goes down. It picks up one.
No.
Can he pick up another? Rek'Rai is just going to be there, part the horizon. One more auto attack would have done it. But nah, Dolb's bleed was enough with that red buff. And this straight into Reasons, who's going to be able to pick this one up. Nobody's still alive. The Nami difference is massive. Oh man, this is a question I've been wanting to ask you all game. Lulu Nami, is it shields or is it heals? Who's going to win in that one? I personally think the Nami's going to come out on top. The heals is way better than shields.
Yeah, I mean, like, as a standard statement, no matter what the game state, no matter what the situation, I disagree. I think shielding and healing is very, very situational. Especially this game, though, it's got to be better purely because of the inherent sustain. You've got something on like Darius, he wants to be healed up as well. He doesn't really care about the physical resistance that he gains from a shield. He wants to keep maximizing his ability to keep going forward, and the ability to heal does that. I would also argue that Nami is a lot more offensive capability than, say, a Lulu. And at this stage, when you want to play really aggressive, the more that you can buff up your team's damage, the better. Lulu definitely better later on because of the ability to peel, but Nami's ability to go forward versus go back, I totally agree. I think it's fishy all the way. And again, we're in a similar game 1 situation. I don't know what it is about Cavalry, Pike, but when they do find a lead, it's not just a lead, it's like a gargantuan Omegalodon lead. Like, these guys don't win close games. They absolutely smash teams out of the water, and very rarely do they get smashed themselves. They've found quite a weird, unique niche here, and we're in a very similar situation to game 1, aren't we?
Look, game 1 was looking real strong for them, so I 100% agree. These guys don't know anything but move forward. They are so close to a 10k gold lead at 17 minutes. They're smurfing on these guys. They may have just lost a really rough game, that second game, and look, they still looked pretty good. It was a drafting mishap. They just didn't draft right. Now that they're like, literally, dude, am I not just a fantastic caster? Because I called this. If they drafted towards their win con, they win. Simple as that. And that's what they've done. It's what you want to see from these teams, is playing to what they know best. Obviously, Cavalry, being the horse team that they are, wants to move forward.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a whole thing, isn't it? They can't actually move backwards. Wow, you're coming out without all the equestrian knowledge.
Mate, I'm a horse guy, what can I say? But here comes Daya. He's dashing forward. There's the wild growth as Daya could be picked up by the Cyclone here. Tempest wants to do a little bit more. He does actually get shut down. Dollop is also tower diving. So Tempest popping another Cyclone. Spin to win. Yeah, nothing crazy.
No, it's nothing crazy, but it doesn't need to be anything crazy. Do you know what I mean? When you're this far ahead in the game, you can actually afford to take smaller plays because you've already gained the massive amount of pressure that you need. You've got all the prio. Neon Candy with a lead clearly knows how to set up vision. We can see that in the top side already. You already know what you need to play for, when, why, and how. All you need to do is not make a mistake.
Wise reasons there, though. That's the mistake. Because he's gone straight into that. Oh, he's taken the tunnel. Did he try to hook him in the tunnel?
Yeah, he did. A valiant effort. That's all you got to say about that one. But yeah, from bad to worse, really, for Jade Dragons. It's going to be an interesting situation because you've not only got to try and pick someone out, but you've got to have the damage before they can get the Lamb's Respite. And I just don't think they have the damage yet. Civ is only sitting on Mythic plus Pickaxe. Like, she is a long, long way away from reaching that 2-item spike. And of course, AD carries with this new patch are able to spike on 2, but not 3, but 2 items. But it's still a while to even get there. And yeah, we can be clearing mid lanes. Yeah, we can be even with CS with Ezreal, but it's just not enough. I'd love to see a crazy bomber play before this game ends, though I doubt it there as well. Yeah, all across the map, it's hard to look at the positives for Jade Dragons, but certainly not the case when you look towards Cavalry as well. I mean, Dollop, we haven't talked too much about. Yeah, the Darius has been flashy, but Dollop really consistent on this Kindred. Been stacking up marks, maybe even looks for a bit of damage here. No spell shield.
But look, Worgen, not even wild growth can keep you alive. That was absolutely horrendous damage. But here comes the flash out of Daya. No tidal wave available. No, it is available, but it just hasn't been used. Darius just does whatever he wants in the side lane, dropping the Rift Herald. There's the flash forward. Okay, interesting. Envious decides to take the barrel. Explosive cast is weapon of choice, but Baron's up. Go for it. They can.
Yeah, I think they might, especially with a Kindred.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Catch, but there's another fight going on as Tempest wants to chase down this Darius, but he's just looking to run away. He's got the Ghost, and they just can't do anything as the rest of his team is just on Baron laughing.
Yeah, they've got it over 10k gold lead. It's only going to increase even further with local gold, but yeah, no, that's pretty much the Hail Mary play, right, Pike? Like, if we're not going to contest Baron, we can't because of all the priority they have due to vision in the top side. We need to get the pick off of Darius. Darius actually does overstay. Like, he is forced to use the Ghost there. Of course, he'll live when he procs it. He doesn't have to if he walks out, but that's just because of how fed and tanky he is. So even if he does misstep, they still can't catch him. So it's like, well, bad to worse. Like, what do we do? Even when they make a mistake, we can't capitalize. Now Baron acquired. You would think that before this Baron expires, Jade Dragons will expire. Like, you can't imagine they hold on for much longer as reasons.
Here we go. Can he do anything? He's going to get that stack up nice and quickly as he does get it. Oh, what was that? Absolutely destroyed. And the flash forward, the polymorph was there too. Tempest. What is just going on? Did you see Dollop's damage? What was that? Oh, Rek'Rai could also be caught out as the flash forward, the double pull. There's the wild growth as well. Happy Wind is going to get taken down. Big shutdown goes over to Tempest as they're trying to turn this around and picking up that mid tower.
Yeah, no, really nice shutdown, actually. Darius just a little bit, we mentioned that he overstayed earlier in the bot lane. Overstayed, not so much in terms of positioning, but in terms of the play. The play was over once we secured the kill, but nah, got a bit too excited, wanted to go in, does find himself caught. But really, in the grand scheme of things, doesn't matter too much. Yeah, the bounty's nice, but look at everything that they're able to control. Sole point they can go for. I don't even really see the need to, because it's not like Jade Dragons can actually contest the dragon. With what damage is going to take it? You can just keep pushing, but regardless, they like to play calculator. We saw this in game one as well. They had a massive lead, but they still wanted to play as smart and as calculated.
So sorry, this is going to be... And Envy could be the one, but he does have the Malphite ultimate. There's the big engage. He goes straight in. Tidal Wave on top. Good barrel. Actually doing everything too. Nice little trouble bubble does come out as well. Looking to get that healing, but it's just not enough. 1000k gold shutdown as Tempest is now looking for more. Daya wants to get a little bit more. He does dash out, but Path to Horizon is now in the line of sight. Going to be giving the triple over, but no, Darius guillotines the hell out of him, and they're going to pick up this drag. They could even look mid.
Yeah, they could. I mean, really clean team fight coming out from Jade Dragons initially. They may not be done.
What? Pulled him into it? There's the ace. Very nicely played.
Very much a Mortal Kombat moment there, wasn't it? A bit of a get over here! Like, you ain't fighting by Ezreal. That's it. Bit of a fatality, a brutality. And speaking of fatality, just story of this game, isn't it? Everywhere. Fatalities all across the board. Envious, we would have loved to see that Silas get that crazy Malphite ult right, but I like that he actually held the trigger there because, yeah, he would have got a lot of people knocked up, but no one was in range, so it wouldn't have mattered. Potentially without Zhonya, Silas could have actually fell, so sucks that we don't get, you know, the big cool play, but makes sense in the grand scheme of things. Jade Dragons did get something, you know, they were able to closely get to picking, well, as close as they could get to picking off Dollop at the very start of the fight. They do get them after the Lamb respite's expired, but that's how they want the fight. They do have the CC that they can actually chain. You start it with the Malphite entrance, you can rotate it into the Wukong ultimate, and then Gragas to follow up. That's a lot of things that Dollop needs to get through before he can press R. They couldn't find it then, but there is potential for that, maybe. Do we see the craziest comeback of all time for this third place, fourth place matchup? Who knows? I doubt it. But look, after that team fight, yeah, they lost it, but they were always going to lose. The fact that they got something is still really impressive.
Yeah, and looking to contest over this way, pulled in. Path to Horizon just getting absolutely shredded. It has to unstoppable forced out. Like, that's rough to see, man. He's using it defensively.
It's no good. They need it to start these fights, right? So to use it defensively...
Daya, why are you there, bro? You're just going into the wrong spot, and it gets shut down. Mate, what are you doing?
Yeah, no. Caught sleeping, I think, a little bit, and this is the curse of the big gold lead, right? It's like, oh, well, there's no way we can lose, right, guys? Wait.
I'm gonna pull out. Someone in chat just said bold strategy. Like, it's a bold strategy card, and let's see if it pays off for him. As this is the underdog story that we're still watching. I'm gonna hit you with a dodgeball quote.
Oh yeah. I like it.
Oh, but
hold
here's the
on.
fight,
He's
though.
gonna
They've turned the tides as they're going for a little bit more, but can they do it? Envious of me. Does kill one of them. Lulu's taken off the board. Guillotine's dropping, and now Dolpy is looking for so much more as he's just chasing them down. And instead, we'll clear a pink ward.
He wants to look for more, just takes the ward instead, but now they can barrel straight down mid lane. Potentially look at closing down the inhibitor. It is a time where that can work. Tempest finds a decent chunk, but God, this Darius is tanky. Even when he's in kind of all of their faces, he takes no damage. And how good to have something of a front line, even when you do pick a bruiser, because you've got an aim like Kindred. Like, Dollop is strong, actually goes for the IE. I mean, I haven't seen Kindred since the AD carry changes. Of course, she still builds like an AD carry as well. So yeah, goes for the IE versus a Navori or something like that. Feel like both could potentially work, Pike, but when you're this fed, you want to just maximize your DPS, don't you? So opts for that, and then across the board, we're seeing some insane spikes. Silas has now completed his Rod of Ages, so is Gragas, but he doesn't have a Shadow Flame, and old boy Envious of Me certainly does. So in every lane, they're looking considerably stronger than their 1v1 opponents, but team fights not always have been on their terms for Cavalry, and mainly the name of the story is just getting caught. You know, first it was Dollop just overstepping slightly in the river to be caught by the unstoppable force from Malphite, and then just in that play it was Ezreal with a much more egregious mistake of just deciding to walk through everyone expecting not to get body slammed in the face. And so hopefully they can manage getting picked off, because that's really the only way to lose.
Well, Casual, here's a big thing. Siva has just gotten that awesome 2-item power spike we referenced earlier on before. Got the Navori Quick Blades. How are you feeling? Do you think she's going to be a champion now? She's going to have some impact? What are your thoughts into this with Ezreal picking up his Navori Quick Blades too?
That's right. That's what I was going to point out. I'm like, again, you know, like, yes, cool that Siva's got it, but Ezreal's got it. So it's like, yeah, I'm pretty strong, but I'm nowhere near the level of what I need to be to completely 1v9 a fight. And that's the type of comp that they've drafted here. They've gone for utility mid, utility top, and a supportive jungler in the Wukong.
Wait, that's a TP into the back. What's he doing? Envious, you're crazy, man. What's going on? He's just going to get polymorphed and shut down instantly as the team is trying to recover a little bit more. Malphite is a big boy, but that's a good tidal wave coming down to the top. Darius wants to do a little bit more, but he's shut down too. This team, what an absolute clusterfuck. He massacred that Flash. What are you even trying to do there? But Dolpy is also here, gets polymorphed too, but he's looking for a little bit more damage. Is he going to pop that ultimate, trying to try and survive a little bit longer? Is he going to be able to jump over the wall, deal a little bit more damage? He's going to probably have to flash that one. No, dashes over the wall. Good trouble bubble, does land, but what a kerfuffle. What just happened in this team fight, Casual?
Okay, so let's break it down. First things first, Envious of Me. We talked about the previous play where maybe we could have taken the Malphite ulted, but it was smart not to. He's clearly not stream sniping. He's not ghosting because he didn't hear us then, Pike. He jumped straight in with the unstoppable force. Finds a decent amount, but it's exactly like I mentioned earlier. If you don't have the follow-up, you just get ran down. So as soon as he uses the ultimate, Lulu polymorph into death. We're going to see, hopefully, a contest. So we may actually end up, they might get a soul for their troubles. We'll have to see. We'll wait on the analysis for now because, Pike, I think something's about to get cooking.
I feel a fight brewing as my voice is about to go hoarse, but here's Dolpy. He's also here, and then he gets the dragon, he gets the steal. It's a beautiful play. The leash was there, and they're looking for a little bit more as Tempest clone is the line of fire, but beautiful soul being picked up there. Cavalry doing something. That's what we've like. They're being proactive, but they've just made a couple little mistakes that I don't like, and Baron is on the board with a stack for Kindred.
It's the mental reset, right? I feel like we can talk now because I don't think there should be a contest coming out from Jade Dragons, but it really is a mental reset in terms of that fight went so poorly for them that thank Christ at least we get the soul. Like I would actually genuinely, despite being so far ahead.
Malphite's going in for a big fight. They're trying to do everything again. What an absolute clusterfuck one more time. I'm sorry for swearing, but Happy Windman is just chilling. Dolpy also going hard as Worgen is about to be taken off too, but Siva's got the double kill. They're looking so low though, Casual. You just have to chase them down and hope for the best. But an absolutely good fight. Tempest off into this bush, wants to come in, but no, Day is looking for that little one too. Does find the clone. And it looks like this fight's going to go a little bit. They're just chasing them down because they can. Dashes forward. Daya wants one more. He's flashed, but he's going to get attacked by Reasons. Why would you flash there with no one there to secure it? But no, actually picks it up too. He dashes over the wall to survive, but the Raptors actually killed him. But no, they're looking to be able to pick up one more. Polymorph goes through, and Dollop is still the force. These games are just so coin flippy. I don't like it.
Oh man, I don't like it. I do not. No, I love it. I love it because it's actually a real fun test for me to analyze back-to-back team fights that are as chaotic as this. Because
Dolphy.
it's not as simple. On so many levels, they're
I'm
not
saying
being
Dolphy.
played like
Oops.
correctly. It's so weird. But yeah, I guess Jade Dragons have sort of scaled back into this game, and Dollop is incredibly strong. They've got to be careful here, especially without
Come on,
Malphite ult.
Dollop. Come on, Dollop. Nah, he's just dead. I'm going to say his name right this time.
But yeah, so no, oversteps there. Actually a really chunky shutdown. Who got it? Hopefully Siva. Yeah, Siva did get it. That's actually massive. That is a
Yeah.
huge thing in terms of this game. And it's interesting, right? 10k gold lead, but I wouldn't be feeling so confident if I was Cavalry anymore. The last couple of team fights have been played really, really disconnected. First, it's Envy with engages that are far too early. Then it's Happy Windman engaging when no one else is playing Disruptor, so they're able to just focus Darius down as a backline. The only person I can really praise on the side of Cavalry post 25 minutes is Neon Candy. These bubbles have been absolutely fantastic. Pinpoint, everyone else seems to really been losing step and losing focus, and you'd hate to see it with such an insane gold lead potentially throw in from here. I'm not going to make any big claims yet, but so far looking so good for Jade Dragons.
Dollop, I think, has also been doing quite well. 12, 2, and 8. He's definitely had such a strong impact as he's got the GA now too. He's going to be doing a lot of damage. So I'm really keen for Kindred to really still step up in this game, because that is a lot of the gold lead on him alone.
Almost all of it, right? Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's so good that it's GA as well, because how obnoxious to have GA on any champ, right? Let's just be honest. But also especially on a Kindred as well. Sort of that double layer cream of invulnerability that just makes it that much harder to actually say, oh, let's just get the Kindred guys. He's 12 and 2. Here's all their gold. All we've got to do is kill him. Well, we can't kill him when he's altered, and now we can't kill him because he's got a GA.
Here's the back end engage. Tempest wants to be there, but Darius is also split pushing in the top lane. There's the barrage coming down, going to do a big chunk of damage to Rek'Rai. But are they going to be able to do a little bit more? They can move a little bit forward. Darius being able to pull this Malphite in. He's very tanky though, but look at Kindred. The damage coming out of that. That sheep is absolutely phenomenal. And they're just able to walk this one down. A cheeky hop, skip, and a jump over to the top lane as they're going to push in this wave and look to end this one out. Casual, slowly but surely clearing out waves, making sure that they can just press the advantage. They've still got the soul too. It's going to do a lot of damage here, but here comes Horizon. He wants to make a play here. He does have the unstoppable force. There's the flash barrel. He's gone for a little bit more. They're going big damage. That tidal wave is perfect. Just hit 2 members. Look at Dollop though. Almost said Dolpy, but I'm not going to say it again. Dollop's doing so well. Pulled back one more time. He gets the stopwatch, double stopwatch, and that guillotine is all she wrote. The game is over. And Cavalry come back from a huge underdog story with a big win, looking to take over this series and secure themselves second or third place. I think it is actually third place.
It'll be third place, yeah. It'll be third place. So congratulations to Cavalry, and it feels that much sweeter because of the lack of success that they've had so far in this tournament. Great to finish on a high. Do you know what I mean? So I feel really happy for them, and what a way to do it as well. Both of their wins were incredibly stompy, and yeah, there were some little teetery moments, let's be honest, in a couple of those last fights, but the fact that they played so well leading up to those few mistakes means that they can just close it out as soon as they kind of, slap themselves a little bit and get back into it. And not to completely discredit, Jade Dragons as well. Bringing us into a 3-game series is what we love to see when we're at a BO3. So congratulations to them. They will lock themselves into 4th place. But yeah, wow, Cavalry, man. If you told me after watching these games that Cavalry had lost everything up until now, I would have said that you were capping. So really, really good for them. Kind of like flipping the script, right?
No, 100%. Now, I'm going to push this over to Twitch chat. I want to get a poll for who you thought the MVP was from Cavalry. I want to get a poll with all of their names. Let's go off champion names. So Darius, Kindred, Silas, Ezreal, Nami. As we go through a couple little of announcements before we end this stream, hopefully we have an interview with one of these players. I'm going to quickly just talk to them. But Casual, was there any standout that you'd like to give for MVP in this game? Maybe the series. Maybe the series.
Yeah, I was about to say, can I do the series? It doesn't really change much for me, and I know it's probably a bit wacky because, yeah, there was some really fancy and really high KDAs, but my MVP has to be Neon Candy, honestly. so many of these team fights clutched to absolute perfection. Not only were we recovering really bad team fights, potentially started by a false engage or someone getting caught with really clutch bubbles,
Mm.
and the ability to use Tidal Wave to actually protect and kite back, but also some really fantastic engages in choke points and just general vision control around the map. It seemed like Cavalry, even in the game that they lost, had a lot of vision control, especially
Yeah.
in the bot sort of quadrant of the map. So yeah, I've got to give it to Neon Candy. I really do like watching and appreciating decent supports playing at their peak. And I
Mm.
believe in terms of competitively, given the fact that Cavalry have lost most of their games, I can't imagine that it's too far of a reach to say that that was the best of Neon Candy that we've seen so far.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think it was Neon Candy. Hands down, those two games that they won, he had such an impact, and I love it. But guys, once we get that MVP vote, I believe the poll is in chat right now. Go put your votes in so we can have a bit of a look. But I just want to do a little bit of an announcement just for
Yeah.
myself. I've been given permission, guys. We have on Thursday this week, if we can get a scene change from my friend Mayhem, who has been absolutely fantastic today with all this. I'm running a charity-based stream for the International Women's Day. It's a fun run that my partner will be doing, Cutie. So if you guys watch my stream, you'll know who Caffeinated Cutie is. So we're taking donations to join in some custom 5v5s. Everyone is welcome. The smallest donation will get you a seat in these games to come have some fun. So I know Casual's going to be there. He's really keen. We got some really big things running for this. We're going to do a lot more of these in the future. Hopefully I can get some of these amazing orgs inside of it too, so they can get really excited for that stuff as well. But everyone's welcome. Come jump in. It will be in my stream, which is Papa_Pike. Hopefully we'll get that announced in the MCOM. So don't forget to jump into MCOM's Discord as well, guys. There will be an announcement there too. But absolutely huge. So thank you all for at least just being here to check it out. I can't wait to do this nice little event for you all. The fun run's going to be fantastic. We're not chasing a huge goal, but we're chasing a nice goal. So I just thought I'd announce about Thursday. I'll hopefully see you all there. Now, Casual, I believe we do have someone for our interview. It is Dollop, or Dolpy, who's my new friend.
Dopey dopey.
Dollop, how are you, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. I heard about this weird nickname you've been
No, I'm
giving
so
me.
sorry.
I
Well,
thought
do you like it?
it's okay. I just thought I made my name much easier to pronounce when I changed it to just
Yeah,
Dollop. But it
you
seems
see-
like you're struggling with
Not the
that.
case, mate.
No,
Not
the problem
case.
the problem is you got it sort of like back to front, right? So it's a Dollop, and I've been reading it with a P in there and just chucking a Y on the end. So I've been like, I'm just reading it as I see it. I'm just like, oh my god, I think I was stroking out or something. But no,
I think
I
that's dyslexia. I'm
like,
pretty sure.
well, maybe it is. You know what? I'll pay that. But mate, awesome work today. You absolutely crushed it in these games. How was it coming with your first series win?
Yeah, it was really good. I felt after our warm-up game, we felt really strong. So I was just like feeling really confident. After the second game, we were able to like pull our heads back, and I don't think I asked for it, but like our drafter just said, "Oh yeah, we're just gonna draft a dollar per carry," and
Yeah.
I felt it in me. I felt the kindred
felt it.
energy vibes.
Oh, I love it. I love it because I was actually talking to Envious too, and he's just like, "Yeah, we're getting ready. We're feeling it." I was so excited for you, man. What in your sort of mind really peaked when you sort of came in? They won the second game. Were you feeling a little disheartened? Like, what was your sort of mental process there? You won the first one so well. Did you just sort of say, "Let's rinse and repeat what we did game one," or what were you guys thinking?
I just went. No, draft gap wasn't our fault. We played well, and then just mental block it.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I like it. I guess the thing I'm most curious about, Dollop, is probably like I haven't watched like a lot of your games, right? And I was asking Pike about how Cavalry have actually been going so far in the tournament, and the word on the street is not very good. But then, as
No,
I mentioned,
not at
now I
all.
watch this series, and I'm like, well, that can't be because you guys actually played really, really well, even in the game that you lost. Like you said, it wasn't. It was kind of just draft that was the biggest issue. So, what's actually changed? What do you think now that you've won a series and performed really well? Do you think was the thing that was going wrong, and what did you do to fix that?
Honestly, there was a lot going wrong. There was a lot of like fundamentals of working as a team and like
Mm.
communicating and understanding like the flow of the game. So there was a lot to work on, and I think we just hit our stride like from the
Big
get
time.
go in game one.
Yeah.
I think we've shown in our losses that we have like some like positive stuff. So we just like focused on that. I think weak siding Daya, even though he's like a cracked ADC, it works out well because he's able to like take the pressure and
Win
like
anyway.
still come out strong on the end. And then with our new top laner, he seems to be able to play like Darius very well, obviously, but able to like perform on the carry role in top lane. So playing around that, and then Envy in the mid is probably our strong suit. But we'll see where we go in the future.
Yeah, and I love that. I actually wanted to reference that really quickly. It's probably the last question we'll have for you is how do you find that you and Envious in the mid lane sort of are quite this sort of dynamic duo? Because we saw you guys have really good synergy in all 3 games, if I'm going to be honest. Like you were there especially in crucial times for fights where Envious was just sort of like either you were piggybacking off each other. How are you finding that duo? Like are you really enjoying playing together? Like tell us about that experience.
Yeah, I think it's really good. I think we're both like very communicative. Like we talk a lot, so it's able to like string together plays, like talk about like what we want to do, where we're strong. And I think there's been like on those a couple of plays that were like really good. It was off the back of just like a ward that we'll see someone like rotating or like we'll see someone like moving away from like a position, and we're like, okay, we're going. Like we just go here, and then yeah, that's just how it is. So well, I think just we're very well suited to play.
I love that. I love hearing that. It's nice to hear that players, especially even in lower bracket sort of tournaments, that you guys are learning that communication, prepping for the big tournaments to come. So, mate, I'm really keen to start seeing you in those Masters to Challenger or Diamond to Challenger games. So I'm looking forward to your climb, which I can definitely see it's happening. So, mate, congratulations. Big win today. Thank you so much for joining us on the desk to have a bit of a chat.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Good work on the desk, all of you.
Thanks, Dolpy. Appreciate you, man.
All right. Later. Have fun.
Dolby, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you.
Old Polod.
Now, guys, thank you all so much for it. Before we go, we have the little announcement that I was referencing before. It's a little bit of a bait and switch coming into you. So, unfortunately, even from today's matches, neither of these teams will be moving forward to the grand finals, which is next weekend. Casual, can you walk us through how the grand finals are going to be looking?
Yeah, so it's a really exciting time right next week. I'm hoping I get to be a part of it. Regardless, it's going to be an amazing event. So yeah, so look, Cavalry and JADE are not going to be a part of it like you mentioned. So sitting at 3rd and 4th place respectively is where they will stagnate. But however, there's still a lot more action yet to come with Knights and Starcasters, who actually versed tonight. We'll have a rematch, this time with all of the stakes on top though, because it's going to be a grand final. It's going to be a best of 5 next Sunday. Knights versus Starcasters. Not sure what side selection will be happening there.
Mate, yeah, who knows?
It's going to be
who knows?
BO5. They're going to go off. Oh no! You couldn't even tell me to predict it. These teams are so matched. Like, God, it's going to be exciting. I'm going to be watching even if I'm not casting it because it's going to be that good. So please make sure you book out that time slot no matter what you're doing. Say sorry to your partner. This is where I'm going to be sitting. I'm going to be getting my popcorn. If you're anything like our friend Mayhem behind the scenes, going to be getting ready to watch it. It's going to be a big series. And then after that, Pike, it's an off-season break for about a week or 2 for the teams. You know, they get to relax, chill, figure out the kinks, and then split 2 begins with all sorts of new funky stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much the lowdown so far.
Mate, I like it. Now, for that final game next week, guys, we will be doing skin. There are skin giveaways for the winning team. I believe they are the 975, so it's the premium stuff. But yeah, this is no chump change sort of things, are we talking? Nice to see that these teams are going to be rewarded for their awesome plays, their awesome skills, but a best of 5 as well. Who doesn't love a good best of 5? Am I right? Like, that's the good stuff. So, guys, big shout out. Don't forget to jump into the Discord here. Don't forget to follow us on our socials. Now, I want to do a big thank you to all of the people who are working on the stream today. Big shout out to the mods. Big shout out to Mayhem on the back end. Big shout out to Casual. Look at this beautiful guy right here. Absolutely crushing it tonight. And a big thank you to me because I'm amazing. But no, guys.
Well, I mean, you could have let me compliment you instead.
Yeah, you got to talk yourself up. Now you talk yourself up.
Good stuff.
I'm waiting. You can't give yourself up? No, well, Casual is amazing, guys. We love Casual because he does an awesome job. Big shout out to him. But guys, thank you all so much. Big shout out to the staff as well for doing such an awesome job setting up these tournaments. We look forward to seeing you next week for the grand final. We'll see you all then. For now, though, thank you for being on this adventure with me. See you later.